Welcome to Your Case, Your Justice, Personal Injury with Empathy with Lowell Steiger.
Hey everybody, welcome to Your Case, Your Justice, Personal Injury with Empathy with Lowell Steiger. I'm your host, Mike Leon. You know, Lowell's a dedicated South California attorney who's been fighting for injured clients since 1998. With a genuine passion for advocacy, he works tirelessly to secure justice and compensation for those in need. And you know, Lowell, today we're going to be talking about something that surprises a lot of people when they get into an accident, which is the role of the insurance adjuster. I was recently in an accident, so I want to learn more about this. You know, they may seem friendly on the phone, Lowell, but their job isn't to help you. It's to save money for the insurance company. So Lowell, let me ask you, why the insurance adjuster is not on your side. What is it that exactly an insurance adjuster does after an accident?
First, thanks for having me, Mike. I appreciate it. And it's always good to see you. And are you okay after your accident?
I am. I appreciate that. Thank you. I am.
It's always my first question. So an insurance adjuster after an accident, what they do is they're hired by the insurance company. It's sometimes a lifelong position, where they want to evaluate your claim, and they want to evaluate your claim, in the insurance company's best light as opposed to yours. So what they do from the start is they start gathering information. They review a police report if there is one. They take photos of the vehicles, of the scene if they can do that. Talk to witnesses, and then they pretty quickly want to request your medical records to see what your injuries are. And although it always sounds reasonable, right, when they're asking about this stuff, but they're doing it not for you. They're doing it not for the injured person. They're doing it for the insurance company because that's where their loyalty lies. You might see the little thing over the shoulder there.
Right. Yeah. We're going to touch on that in a second. Well, so let me ask you, let's stay on that because you just mentioned the word quickly. So why do adjusters sometimes call very quickly after a crash?
Well, they want to catch you off guard. They want to gain your trust. They want to make you think that they are there for you. And they want to get to you, hopefully from their perspective, before you talk to a lawyer. And they, and their real goal is to minimize the seriousness of your injury and hopefully give you a quick payout and be done. Because once you sign a release, no more case.
Once you sign a release, no more case. You heard what Lowell just said there. Lowell, staying on that, and this is great information for folks out there. Is it ever a good idea, if you've been in an accident, to give a recorded statement to the other driver's insurance company?
No. I've been doing this almost 30 years, and I can't think of an instance where I thought it was going to be helpful for my client, because anything that you say during those statements is going to be somehow used against you. Like, for example, how are you? How's the weather today? Oh, weather's nice. How bad could it be if he sees how good the weather is? I mean, as silly as that sounds, but that's sort of the mentality. And
You were meant. Yeah, go ahead, Lowell.
You are under no contractual obligation whatsoever to give a statement to the other party's insurance company. That's different for your own insurance company. But for their insurance company, you have no contract with them. Even if the other driver has the same insurance company that you have, you still have no obligation to talk to them. And you should say, my attorney, or I'm getting an attorney, and I've been advised to not give you a statement.
That's good to know, even if you have the same insurance. You mentioned before about the settlement offer and that the insurance adjusters want to give a quick one. So what's the risk in accepting a quick settlement offer, and how do you know, or how will someone know that it's a fair offer?
They won't know if it's a fair offer. A quick offer. Here's the thing: when you first get into an accident, you don't really know what your injuries are. Until it plays out. You don't know what your medical bills are going to be. You don't know what your future treatment might be, what your loss of earnings might be. You don't really know. There's no way for you to know. Okay, so if they settle the case with you in the beginning and say, "Oh, here's $5,000 or $2,500 or something," which sounds good at the moment, that's the end of your case. and they're done. They don't ever have to pay you another dime, and they won't. So that's the risk. Your case may have a lot more value than you realize.
Lowell, you were mentioning medical records before. I kind of want you to expand on an area there, which was these adjusters. How are they using your medical records, and how can they twist the facts? Because you had mentioned a little bit about they want to get the medical records fast, but expand on that a little bit more.
Well, what they do is they try and if they can get your past medical records, which I would never advise a client to. Well, if they're my client, we're not giving them past medical records until we get into litigation. If we have to, then we'll do it. But if they ask an unrepresented person for their medical records, and you give them your medical records, and let's just say somewhere in there you went to a chiropractor 5 years ago for a neck problem, and you're complaining of a neck problem today, or even more, you're complaining of a back problem today. Then you say, look, this person has been getting treatment for soft tissue pain for years, and they try and water down the value of your case that way. They try to look for anything that they might be able to connect to your current injury. And having said that, I think people sometimes don't realize that a past injury, even a new accident can exacerbate a past injury, and the person that caused your injury is responsible for the difference between how you were before the accident and how you are now, even if you already had some sort of a pre-existing condition. Does that make
You
sense?
know, Yeah, no, it makes sense to me. And I wanted to ask you something else on that, because you were mentioning before about you wouldn't advise a client, or you would advise a client to never share the medical records. And obviously we live in a digital age with social media. So do you think insurance companies really follow people or look at their social media posts in relation to potentially an accident and finding out more information about the person involved in the accident?
Yeah.
Great answer.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Expand on that.
That, uh, no, I don't know. The insurance companies, I mean, it's out there. Everything is out there. So uh, they're going to look. You may not have anything on your social media, which is fine, but they're going to look to anything in your social media, if they can gain access to it, that may indicate that you weren't injured so badly, or that you're healed, or that you're malingering, meaning that there's really nothing wrong with you, but you're kind of stretching out, your drama, which is how they're going to phrase it. I'm not, or couch. That's not what I'm saying you're doing. I'm just saying that's how they'll do it, or how they'll talk about it. But they're looking for anything. Like, just say, for example, um, there's a picture of you at a birthday party 3 months after the accident that's posted on Facebook, and you're smiling. They don't know that you're smiling, but your back has been killing you all day long from this accident. They're just saying, look at this person. They're having a fantastic time. They weren't injured. And that's what they do. They really make a mountain out of a molehill if they can. So you don't want to put anything out there. I always advise my clients, stop with social media as soon as they're in an accident, because it's not going to help. And don't complain about your accident or talk about your accident in social media. That's just, that's really not going to work out well for you.
Words to the wise right there, Lo. Lo. So then let me ask you, because I think I know the answer to this, but I still want to ask it anyway. Can you negotiate with an adjuster yourself, or is it better to have your lawyer handle that?
Uh, if you have a lawyer, they won't talk to you, at least not in California. It's like the sign of the cross with a vampire, um, because it violates the insurance code. So if you have a lawyer, you cannot negotiate. But if you don't have a lawyer, yes, you can negotiate with the insurance company. Problem is that they do this every day. This is what they do for a living. You, as somebody who's unrepresented, don't really know their tricks, and they're going to say things to you that sound very reasonable to lessen the value of your case, and it's not going to be in your favor. And so people think, well, I've got to pay a lawyer. They're going to take a percentage. But statistically, and I don't have the statistics in front of me, statistically, someone who is represented ends up netting more in their pocket in the end by having an attorney handle the case for them.
Lowell, let's put a bow on this. What would be your biggest piece of advice to somebody that's watching or listening to this and they're dealing with an adjuster right now?
Stop, get an attorney, get advice. An attorney will, at least in California, and I think probably everywhere in the country, attorneys that do what I do, which is personal injury litigation. We work on what's called a contingency fee basis. And that means that you don't owe us anything until any fees until your case resolves. So getting advice from an attorney or turning your case over to an attorney that you've been handling along the way, again, would probably be in your best interest. It won't cost you anything. It can only help.
Well, Lowell, thank you so much for the insights and appreciate the time.
You're welcome. It was really, I hope it was fun for you. It was fun for me.
And thank you for everybody out there joining us in today's episodes of Your Case, Your Justice. Remember, if you've been in an accident, you're dealing with an insurance company, they're not your advocate, but Lowell can be. If you have questions about your case or you just want to know what your rights are, you can visit him online at steigerlaw.com, STEIGER law.com. And as always, be sure to leave us a review, subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. I'm your host, Mike Leon.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.